This 8.3 lesson is all about lines and angle relationships. So two words that you probably already know. We have parallel, two lines that never intersect, but these two lines that never intersect have to be on the same plane. And we'll talk about what a plane is in just a moment. Also, we have perpendicular, a word that we should already know. And this is when we have two lines that are on the same plane and they form those 90-degree angles. All right, so that'll be important for us. And a new word that we may not have heard of before is skew. Skewed lines are lines that never intersect. They do not intersect each other. They are not parallel. They are on different planes. So that's what's different between parallel and skewed. They don't intersect each other because they're on totally different planes. When I think of a plane, I think of like walls. Like a room has 4 walls. Those are 4 different planes. So if I look over here, I have, a wall on this side. I have a front wall. I have a ceiling. All of those are different planes. That's what I think of when I think of planes. If we were to highlight 2 lines on this diagram that were skewed, I could possibly look at this line here and this line over here. So those 2 lines are never going to touch. They're never going to intersect. This one's on that far wall, and this one's going in the other direction on a totally different wall. So they're never going to touch each other. Now we're looking at this figure down below for number 1. AB is this line right here, on the top, on the ceiling. And then DC is this line on over here. It is also on the ceiling. So they are on the same plane, okay? So these are blank lines. Since they never meet, but they are on the same plane, we are going to call those lines parallel. Number 2, DH and EH. DH is this corner line right there, and then EH is the bottom of that wall, so it goes along the floor. Do you see a 90-degree angle? All right, they do intersect. And they form a right angle, so DH and EH are perpendicular. All right, you got that one down? Now looking at number 3, AB and EH. AB we looked at earlier, and then EH is that floor one we looked at earlier. AB is on the ceiling, EH is on the floor, so they are totally different planes. So they are never going to touch each other. So they are skewed. They do not intersect, and they are not parallel. Another new word down below is the transversal. A transversal is a line that intersects 2 or more lines. All right, the picture I've drawn off to the right, I have 2 lines. I drew those little arrows to note that those are parallel. The 2 green lines are parallel. And when that happens, we have the following things to be true. So when 2 parallel lines are intersected by a transversal, which I drew in purple, 8 angles are formed. And I numbered them off, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. The 4 acute angles are congruent. So if I look at my diagram, I have angle 1 and angle 4. Those are 2 acute. And then 5 and 8 are also acute. They're congruent, meaning they are the same. That's the congruency symbol there. Squiggle with an equal sign. The 4 obtuse angles are then also going to be congruent. So 2, 3, 6, and 7 are also going to be congruent. The sum of 1 acute angle and 1 obtuse angle is 180. And if you think about it, if I put those two angles together, angle 1 and angle 2, I would form a straight line, which is 180 degrees. So that is why when I put one acute and one obtuse together, I form 180. Now let's look at the diagram below. Use the figure to answer the questions. So which angles are acute angles? I see angle 2, angle 3, angle 6, and angle 7 are all less than 90 degrees. So I'm going to write angle 2, angle 3, angle 6, and angle 7. Which angles are obtuse angles? Those are my angles that are larger than 90 degrees. So I have angle 1, angle 4, angle 8, and this guy I call my given angle. And given angle, because they give us the dimensions for that one, so the 140. What I love about these questions is that just given one angle measurement, I can find every single angle in my diagram, and I just think that's really cool. So up above, it told me that all the obtuse angles were congruent and all the acute angles are congruent. So I already identified all my obtuse angles and the given angle. So that tells me that angle 8 is 140 degrees, angle 4 is 140 degrees, and angle 1. So there's 4 out of my 8 angles are congruent, so I know their measurement. Now how can I figure out that the acute angle? Well, it also told us up here that if I add an acute angle with the obtuse angle, it's 180. So I'm going to use that, and I'm going to take 180 minus our given angle measurement. So 180 minus 140 is just 40 degrees. So all of my little acute angles are going to be 40 degrees. Try to squeeze that into my picture. All right, so that helps me figure out number 6. Find the measures of angle 1. The way you write that is you write an M. M for measure. Measure of angle 1 equals 140 degrees. Comma. Measurement of angle 2 equals 40 degrees. So the only math that I had to do was a subtraction problem. So that's pretty awesome, and I figured out 8 different angle measurements.